Okay, so for those of you building steel deck beds, this module is specifically for you and how to install flat bar. So before we actually install the flat bar, we do need to add one aspect to the bed before we do that. So you should already have these extra cross members out of the sides, but what we need to add before we add the flat bar is the center cross member that you see here and here. So what this is this is 1.75" by 120 wall tube. Could be 2-inch tube if you substituted that. But what you're going to do is just measure from the back of this cross member to your tail, cut a piece and center it in here, and it's just going to go lengthwise. And then the same thing up here, measure from the front side of this cross member here to the front of your inner frame, the front inside of your inner frame, and then cut yourself a piece for that. Center it horizontally in here, and then it just runs vertically like so. If you don't have a gooseneck ball and you're not going to put a gooseneck in it, you're going to want to put a little section in the center here too. But for those of you that have a gooseneck ball, we're going to leave this open because this is going to be our gooseneck ball access once we get the deck on. So this next part of the video, we're going to cut to showing you the slight differences that we have in flat bar installation versus wood deck. So stay tuned for that for this upcoming clip. Okay, so you guys with the steel deck beds, we're going to go over a couple differences for the flat bar install. So after I explain these two differences on how the flat bar is installed, which is these pieces right here, and relationship of where I am on the bed. This is the back tailboard of the bed. The front is up towards where I'm pointing, and this right here is the passenger side rear corner right here. So the flat bar is going to be the same exact install technique as the wood deck bed. So I'm going to explain these couple differences, and then you're going to go back and watch the wood deck module on how to install the flat bar. You're just going to do a couple things different that I'm about to explain. So difference number one is you have this center cross member that the wood deck beds don't have. The wood deck beds would just have one continuous piece of flat bar right here. You're going to have to do two pieces so that you got one that fits in this section here and this section here. The front's going to have a cross member that's running lengthwise as well, so you're going to have to just do two pieces of flat bar at the back end here and also at the front. So that's one difference. Difference number two is if you were building a wood deck bed, your inner frame and also your flat bar when you install it would be 1.75" below the top of the outer frame and the top of the tail. That way you have enough space to put the wood in there, screw it down, and it would be flat. So for this, since you're doing steel deck, we're just going to be laying 14 gauge diamond plate in. So you're just going to inset the flat bar the same amount down as your inner frame is inset down, which is 1/4 inch. And that just gives us a nice flat surface. The flat bar is going to be at the same plane as your inner frame members. And so instead of 1.75" on the wood deck, we're just going to do 1/4 inch down instead. The other difference is on the wood deck, it's going to instruct you to weld the top side of this to weld these into place. On the steel deck, it's okay to weld these seams right here where the inner frame connects to the flat bar, but you don't want to weld on the top side in these seams here because that's going to mess with the ability for our diamond plate to sit in here flat. So in all of these, you're going to weld on the bottom side. That way there's no weld to get in the way of your diamond plate. So like I said, go back to module 19A, which is installing flat bar for the wood deck. Just keep that one difference in mind, that you need to inset it 1/4 inch below the outer frame and the tail instead of 1.75", and just weld on the bottom side. And then also you're going to have two pieces of flat bar in this center section as opposed to one as if you had a wood deck. So go back, watch the previous module on how to actually install this, and then you're going to watch the next module after this, after you get the flat bar installed, and we'll actually show you how to put in the diamond plate sheets.